So I was telling you, she asked me to pull it out, and it sounded urgent.
Mm-hmm.
So I just and apparently I did it too fast. All right, and I don't know. The way she said it just made it sound like she said, "Pull it out," and I did. So it was kind of like I pulled it like I was starting a lawnmower.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, and so we're not meeting ever again. So welcome to the Transmit Podcast. I'm Spike.
I'm Victor.
I'm Samantha.
And
That was your credit card that you're talking about.
yeah, I don't know what you. Yeah. What? Oh, yeah. I can see how that could look. Yeah, it was. Listen, you leave the chip in. It's a whole thing. Anyway, today we have a pretty good show for you because we're starting Quentin Tarantino Month.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But actually, to sort of like bridge the gap between Black History Month and Quentin Tarantino Month, it's our Transmit prescribed month named Quentin Tarantino Month.
Oh, yeah.
We watched Django Unchained.
And we watched it definitely because of that and not because we couldn't find Jackie Brown easily.
Yeah.
That's absolutely the reason.
Yeah. But first, we have a couple of things. And this actually kind of, it's sad.
It hits home.
It hits home a little bit because there's chickens in our backyard.
Yeah, it's both sad but also kind of triumphant.
Sort of. We don't know what happened. So anyway, rooster killed its owner during a banned cockfight in India. So a man was killed by, I believe it was the owner. I think I had heard this. Was killed by a rooster with a blade attached to its leg during an illegal cockfight in southern India, police said, bringing focus on a practice that continues in some Indian states and also in the United States, despite a decades-old ban. The rooster, with a 3-inch knife tied to its leg, fluttered in panic and slashed its owner, 45-year-old Tengula Satish, in his groin last. So it hit his femoral, most likely.
Most likely, but still, when you think groin, you think dick.
Said he was injured. Oh, he was injured while he prepared the rooster for a fight. He was hit by the rooster's knife in his groin and started bleeding heavily, and the man died on his way to the hospital.
It's one of those things you don't think, like, I'm going to die from my fighting rooster. He woke up that day and thought this is just going to be a normal, average day. Maybe a little excitement for me, but not death-like excitement.
Well, apparently last year, a man was killed when a blade attached to his bird's leg hit him in the neck.
Oh,
and then in 2010, a rooster killed its owner by slashing his jugular.
What?
So
This is kind of like, on you. You're
occupational hazard.
Like you strap a blade to a like a 5-pound fowl. How much does a rooster weigh, would you say?
Well, it depends. Some of these fighting roosters, these guys are, I would probably say, depending on like how tall they are, between like 8 and 12 pounds. So they're not light.
No, they're not. And you're strapping a 3-inch blade to each of their legs, and they're fluttery too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if either of you have seen the two boys in our backyard get really unhappy with each other and start like basically doing this, but
right.
without, blades attached to their feet. And, that's not something I want to get in the middle of.
Oh God, no.
Because while they're not human aggressive, they are, they're jerks.
Yeah, if you freak them out, they just, it's like if I spazzed out while holding 2 knives around you. She's like, no, here, just, I need to wash your face. Hang on. And then I just start like flailing at you.
Our cocks aren't aggressive.
Well, speak for yourself. Yeah. That.
The roosters in our backyard are not they're really not aggressive.
We're not making them like fight each other. We're not toughening them up.
Yeah,
we're not making them do push-ups and like yelling at them and stuff.
Chickens don't do push-ups.
You're sitting there, Maggie, your last easy day was yesterday.
I mean, I do threaten to eat them all the time because they're really disrespectful.
So I can imagine that these roosters have been made to be very aggressive and angry.
Yeah, they probably pick them for their temperament, not for like, oh, these look beautiful.
Yeah, I mean...
So it wouldn't be kind of, out of the realm of possibility for one of these to jump up and slice you.
I mean, I think we've gotten pretty lucky with the 2 roosters that we have. because one's the older one, and then the younger one is his son, actually. And so it seems like kind of that easygoing attitude was passed down to the son, which is nice. But I mean, I can pick the dad up. He'll run away from me, but I can pick him up and hold him, and he doesn't try to hurt me or anything. He eats really nicely out of my hand, whereas the hens are rude. Like, but I've seen him like prepared to fight a bird of prey that tried to swoop into the yard, and they make this like really terrifying like dinosaur screech. And you know, if it was like a dark place and I was sleeping and all of a sudden this noise was right next to my ear, I'd poop.
You'd say, I wonder, am I in a horror movie?
I'd poop.
Yeah. So hey, remember when Kramer got from not Friends, goddamn it, from Seinfeld got a rooster, and they kind of did a lighthearted take on cockfighting in New York?
No,
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I slightly remember that.
Yeah, like that's stuff that would not fly today. Like, oh yeah, there was a little cockfight and they ran off and it was all so fun and silly.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
you would not be doing that today.
It's not just dangerous for the cocks; it's dangerous for
everyone
the
involved.
Cock handlers.
So hey, remember how you like 80s stuff?
Yes.
Well, check this shit out.
Can't believe you just said cock handler.
Oh snap!
Striking while the iron is hot.
Okay, so
Ghostbusters track. Incense track.
Yeah. Do you like incense and the classic sci-fi horror-ish movie?
Comedy.
Sci-fi horror comedy? Ghostbusters?
Yeah. Well, I don't really like incense, so I'm probably not gonna
You're like, what?
get this.
You could have an incense burner
That was pretty cool.
that smokes like, yeah, right?
Well, so I mean that's one cute little invention, but apparently Minnesota has like is known for some interesting inventions. Apparently like they came out with microwave popcorn from Minnesota.
Really?
But yeah, actually it's something that
we're already moving on?
Yeah, we're moving on.
Oh, I was going to say, I had a whole joke about the scant 36-ish years after the height of the cultural like phenomenon that was Ghostbusters.
I thought you were gonna,
I was moving on.
I had a whole...
you striking while the iron is hot. I figured.
I thought, but then suddenly I thought I was going to let you talk and that, no, just go ahead. I guess that's just all.
But the new Ghostbusters is coming out though.
Yeah, eventually, one day. Okay, you know what? Fine. Listen,
I wanted to move on to this interesting invention out of Minnesota.
Is it because you keep complaining about having to change underwear?
Average butt.
That's a fine butt. I would squeeze that butt any day.
So a company from Minnesota called Herc Leon appeared on Shark Week and pitched their bed sheets you don't have to watch
Shark Tank
for months.
Shark Tank.
That'd be a weird tie-in for Shark Week.
They just play episodes of Shark Tank on Discovery Channel.
That's what they do now.
We're talking about underwear and then you're talking about Shark Week. Like, I want you to think about the fact that Shark Week is like a fun little glitchy way to refer to women's menstruation too. So we're talking about underwear, and you said Shark Week, and so I'm just.
You said Shark Week.
I did not say Shark Week. I did.
Yes, you did.
Oh,
that was a Freudian slip there.
Well, then it was me. So it appeared on Shark Tank. So Herc Leon's. I'm just laughing at myself now. Entire business model is based around things you don't need to wash as often, and they'll still smell great, which includes apparently self-cleaning underwear.
This is a godsend for every lazy person out there.
That you can wear for days or weeks without
No, listen, our servicemen and women.
No.
Yes.
What are they?
It's science.
Which
means that it's just a bunch of chemicals.
Dude,
it's great.
Okay, so we should order these and try them out for the week and then review them on the podcast.
Yeah, Sam, you're always complaining about having to like change your underwear, so this is like your chance. You're always saying like, God, I have to wash them, I have to fold them, I have to put them in a drawer, and I'm sitting there like, I don't need to hear this much about your underwear, but Right? She's always going on about it.
That's more like you. You're
Dude, it's called yes and, not no and go fuck yourself. Jesus Christ.
So their products, including
in that situation, it was a no, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, you could have helped me out there on this one.
So their products, including underwear, are made with a fabric they call Herc fiber, which they claim is a bacteria-fighting fabric. And they have an Indiegogo posting for the underwear. They say it fights bacteria, stays cool, stays dry, is luxury soft, ultra durable, and blocks UV waves. So you can wear them to the beach.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, how much, like, your regular underwear, not like your swim trunks, how often is, like, are you counting on your boxer briefs to block UV waves? Like, I'm sitting there like, boy, my ball sack is getting a lot of UV raves. I need new underwear.
Raves?
Yeah, we're raving in the UV light.
Okay.
Why would it block UV waves? What's the?
I don't know why. Normally, don't jeans do that, or like regular slacks?
I mean, woven fabric is like, it's kind of.
I guess that's a cool thing to add.
Yeah, I think that's like.
I guess if you don't have UV rays, it makes your underwear cleaner.
I guess. Also,
No.
when
You think the UV rays would kind of help kill the germs?
yeah,
You wouldn't want to block them.
Now, when they said Herc fiber, and it said it fights bacteria, am I the only one who pictured Hercules from Kevin Sorbo fighting bacteria, like just punching it?
I imagined Disney Hercules.
Disney Hercules. Did you picture Hercules in New York, the Arnold Schwarzenegger
I was
version?
going to say I pictured Arnold.
Nice. That's
Really?
good. Very.
Yeah.
No, that's a classic Herc. Nothing
So
shameful.
all
about
three
that.
of us imagined different Hercules.
Yeah.
You know, it's very telling. I watched a lot of Hercules Legendaries during. That very romantic relationship between Hercules and Aeolus was great.
Well, because it was.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Xena and
Xena's
Gabrielle.
that had some strong under and overtones.
because
too.
it was Hercules fighting bacteria, I immediately went to the cartoon realm.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
just saw like a cartoon Hercules fighting cartoon bacteria
I
inside
guess
of
yeah,
like
that makes sense.
inside of like a like a vein or something.
Okay, so look, we watched Django Unchained.
The Django.
Damn you, Django!
You guys are ridiculous.
Unchained. It's a green band trailer.
Yeah, so it will have way
This
less
is-
cussing
This
and
is
blood.
clean, unfortunately.
There ain't no grave.
Oh, it's from Johnny Cash, man.
Oh yeah, he wasn't in the. I don't think he was in the
Yeah,
movie.
There
Was he?
ain't
Or he wasn't. I mean,
no
sorry, his music.
this
wasn't.
music was in it.
Can hold
Was it?
my
Yeah.
body down.
I do not remember that.
I'm pretty sure it was literally
Good
this.
evening, gentlemen.
No, this was something else. That
Amongst
was-
your inventory,
the
I've
song
been
for
led
this
to
part.
believe it's a specimen I'm
Yeah, it was a
keen
much
to
more like
acquire.
soulful
When
song.
I hear
It wasn't
that
like a
trumpet
You're right.
sound,
But I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I heard this.
I'm
from
gonna
him.
rise right out of the ground.
Django, then you're exactly the one I'm looking for.
Hey, stop talking to him.
Calm down. I'm
I
simply
mean,
a customer
you can't
trying
go
to
wrong with
conduct a
Christoph Waltz.
transaction.
Last
Like,
chance,
right?
fancy pants.
Oh, very well.
He's an Austrian who's always playing a German.
Right?
Which is funny.
Yeah.
Do you know what a bounty hunter is?
And now this. Oh, no, you noticed that bit there.
All the they show you.
And they give you a reward.
They show you all these
That or
reactions
they are bigger the reward.
of white
I need
people
your
to this
help.
black
I'm
man
looking for the
riding
brittle
on a horse,
brothers. However, I don't know what they
unfettered,
look like.
and it's like,
It's like they saw someone with a dick thrown out of their forehead.
worse.
They caught my wife, and they sold her, but I don't know who to.
Oh, Mr.
That means
Condi.
we visit every plantation until we find them.
Now,
Yeah, like I
Once a final
thought
brother
Hidden Figures
lies
was
dead
bad.
in the dust, I agree to give you your freedom.
It's terrible.
And I'll take you to rescue your wife.
yeah, I was. Look,
Where we going?
you were shaking your head the whole time, Vic. You're like,
Racist Sheldon would make racist Leonardo DiCaprio.
You had
oh yeah, like you got nothing.
But
Or
now you
racist
have
Leonardo
my attention.
DiCaprio would make racist Sheldon look like the most woke dude.
Yeah, oh yeah. he's just- all he did was like black some stuff out.
How do you like the bounty hunting business?
Can't say it.
Kill white folks and they pay you for it? What's not to like? I like the way you die, boy.
He is a rambunctious sword, ain't he?
What's your name? Django.
The D is silent.
Okay, so in the trailer there, they kind of condensed like two of the main storylines. or two of like the plot elements, like where it's like
He's learning how to become a bounty hunter.
yeah, he goes on his first like bounty hunt, and also the one where he's looking to find his wife. Like we got to find every plantation. No, that was for when they're finding the Brittle brothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was still like it's a trailer, so it's always gonna not go 100%. But that opening scene was one of my favorite. You know, where he's like meeting Django, because I just love this dentist with the spring tooth.
Oh my god, it was terrible.
Coming out of the darkness.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I do like the theme. That's where they start early with the theme of like language being like how they describe who is like who is like not a savage, for lack of a better term, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like
who's civilized, right? I think that's the
yeah.
another way you can describe it. Who's civilized, who's not civilized.
Yeah, because like if you go to like Mr. Candy or Monsieur Candy, like his thing was like white people are civilized because he's a racist, and you know he has all these cultural artifacts trying to state as such, but realistically, you got this guy Schultz showing up with who's English as a second language, who just talks circles around everybody.
Yeah, he knows French, talks circles around everybody that's there,
right? Even
all the
native
Americans.
speakers. Yeah,
and he's using words that like they don't know, and he's like, and they're all like, "You speak English."
Yeah, from that first scene, it's like I'm just trying to ascertain. Stop using the fancy words.
I mean, I feel like that's something that you will still see today, is that people whose first language is English, particularly Americans, will it's like they kind of take it for granted, and because they're monolingual, they kind of slack off in fully acquiring the language. But when you get to people who are multilingual, you know, they're generally trying to learn all of the languages like fully and completely, and I think it's actually a pretty consistent sort of language trope through the years. Like it's what happens.
That's true, but I think here it serves a purpose.
It does, but it's definitely linguistically pretty freaking accurate.
Yeah, because like Mr. Candy, he has like this whole cultural thing. He's talking about how like there's like black people can aspire to be exceptional, like, and that's the best word he can use for him. But he's sitting there like, what is he's like sitting there like he can't figure out what panache means. Yeah. Like everyone in this room knows what panache means, and we're not like, hey, wait, are you an English major? You
Linguistics major.
Okay, so useless, but still, you know what panache? We know what panache means.
Yes.
And I'm.
Do you know what panache means?
Panache. Yeah, it's like flair.
It's like that chocolate.
Yeah. It's a sense. It's a sense of
ganache.
Ganache. Damn it! See, I'm not cultured enough to know chocolate references. See, that's my.
Ganache. No, the G is silent. It's just nosh.
Yeah, nosh.
A nosh.
But yeah,
oh my god. Okay, I get the. It's like gnat, but it's.
Yeah, and so like all the slaves can actually speak English rather well, but like one of those slave guy, the guy with the dog, he sits there and like he talks like about
Yeah, so yeah, Quentin Tarantino is definitely making a point with language in this film.
And culture. You can't gussy up your savagery with culture. It's like trying to polish a turd.
Gussy up your savagery with culture. Oh, yeah.
Because like Mr. Candy, he likes to, he has all this pretense, like the slave owner who gets Django's wife, and he's got like, you know, he likes to be called Monsieur Candy, but he can't speak French. He's kind of an idiot. He gets played until like Samuel L. Jackson like points out, oh hey, they're not here to buy a Mandingo, they're here to buy that chick.
Yeah.
He's a goddamn idiot, and like, you know, Christoph Waltz is sitting there like, you know, after he like remembers seeing like the guy get torn apart by dogs. They're playing Beethoven, or is it Beethoven? It's like a German composer on the harp.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it's like, and he's like sitting there like, stop playing Beethoven, because like these like savages appropriated his culture.
Yeah.
And this is like the truest form, because they're not culture. They're just a bunch of animals that happen to have money in this case, and they use that as a patina over their well, savagery.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what's interesting too when you look at, I mean, obviously a lot of what we see in this film isn't like, it's not
strictly-
historical
yeah.
fact, but it's using kind of these like myths about that time in order to kind of drive home the actual reality of what it was like in the 1860s.
Yeah.
And white people generally thought that black people were animals. They were
Inferior.
savages. They were inferior. And the same about the Native Americans. That's how they treated every non-white person. But they are the actual animals. They're the monsters. They're the inferior, like straight up genetically and everything. Like look at everyone's teeth. Like, have you never heard of like brushing your teeth or like
What was the 18?
chewing
Yeah.
leaves? See, the women had nice teeth.
Well, yeah, maybe
the
they were saying
dudes
something
did
about
not.
they were
Yeah.
saying something about the teeth probably. As
Yeah, I
well.
think because Mr. Candy had like those brown teeth. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I think that was more like that was a visual representation of the rot that was like
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say though, Schultz is from Germany,
Yes.
Mhm.
and they probably have a different view on. I'm pretty sure they have a different view on black people because I'm not quite certain about the history there, but I'm just assuming at this point that slavery wasn't a big thing in like Germany in the 1850s at the time, whereas
Yeah, it wasn't
slavery was
really.
like a huge part of the economic engine of like the South. So
Yeah.
they had to have those beliefs to keep their system going.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And-
if they were all of a sudden like
definitely part
believed
of it.
that black people were like, oh, they're actually equally humans just like we are, it would fuck up their whole entire society. So they had to
Yeah.
like perpetuate this belief. And then people coming from the outside are like, you guys are fucking crazy. Like, what's going on here?
That's the thing. It wasn't quite that because remember, this is actually a rather nuanced look at slavery at the time. Is that Christoph Waltz? He doesn't like slavery, but he's fully willing to use it.
Mm-hmm.
He just straight up says like it's rather like because if you
He
lived in
doesn't
that time,
want to enslave
Yeah.
Django, but he's like, but it serves a purpose for me right now because I need to find the brittle
and
brothers.
I feel bad. So it's a rather nuanced look of how like someone at that time who was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
progressive would view slavery.
For sure, but
Yeah.
I feel like he at least saw like more in Django that like no one else would see. Like he's like, oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
these are just people, you know, like there's slavery happening, but like he saw like he didn't believe in like the true genetic.
Oh, yeah, that's-
inferiority.
No, he had
Yeah.
no problem. He had no problem putting a gun in his hand, putting him on a horse, basically trusting that this man wouldn't like ride off while he was sleeping
Yeah.
with a gun and a horse, because he recognized that there was maybe there was something honorable in Django that he wouldn't just do that.
Yeah.
Because he told him like, hey, I need your help for this thing. And technically I own you, but I don't really want to act like that, but this benefits me for this time. And then after that, you know, you're not a slave.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I was saying earlier, it wasn't the beliefs of the South were not embedded in his culture.
No,
from
Yeah,
where he
for
was.
sure. I mean, the Atlantic slave trade really it didn't hit Europe
Well, I think
as much.
I think it was, but I think, yeah. See, I don't know about that for sure, but I only assume that like
I'm gonna look it up.
that
Well, while we're at it-
slavery was like a much more prevalent in the United States, and it was like just starting to leave Europe, and I believe the United States was like one of the last countries to like get rid of it.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Um,
Oh well. Here, while we're
So according to Statista, I think only about 7,600 slaves ended up in Europe, whereas it was like millions that ended up in the Americas. So,
yeah,
Well,
it
here-
wasn't.
so like it's a very,
big,
very
huge
small amount.
Yeah. So while we're talking about actors in this, like we talked about Christoph Waltz, and he was really great in that. He kind of plays like the smooth talking, smart guy, but Jamie Kennedy or not Jamie Kennedy, Jamie Foxx.
I haven't heard
Wow.
that
Remember
name in a
Jamie
long
Foxx
time.
shit. God, going every Jamie
Jamie Kennedy.
Jamie
The
Kennedy.
Jamie Kennedy experiment. You guys remember that?
Oh, I do remember.
All right.
Malibu's Most Wanted.
God, oh yeah, God, imagine that movie with him in. That'd be so racially insensitive. But Jamie Kennedy has blackface. No, so but no, he's great in this though. Like he
Jamie
has like
Foxx, yeah.
Jimmy Fox. He has several modes.
Jamie Foxx is he's really awesome.
He goes from like depending on where he's at, he's either has that like demure, downplayed like slave attitude, and otherwise he can like really be like a confident, like badass. Other times, depending on what situation he's in and what he's doing, he does have some pretty good range in this as well, right?
Yeah, great range. I think he plays like a really good badass like hero.
Yeah.
Like he's like the hero, like he's I guess he's kind of like a regular dude, and then like he's put into these situations. I mean, like as regular as like a slave.
Could be at that
Like
time.
Yeah.
we have to relate to this guy. But I guess like it's hard to do that because we we didn't grow up with like that life.
Right.
But we all have things that like kind of hold us back, and we like seeing people come from like the very bottom and then like
Oh, yeah,
going to the
definitely.
very top. Like you can see this guy's character arc, like, and the help that he had from his like mentor. It's like
Mm-hmm.
he was given this opportunity, and he just became like super like gunslinger,
yeah.
like super badass,
Yeah.
like superhero type guy.
Yeah, what I like though is like speaking of that range is like he even when he's like very early on in his like career, like when he's shooting the Brittle brothers who whipped his wife, he's got that "I like the way you die, boy" like line, which is really badass. But then when Schultz is telling him the story of Broomhilda, he looks like a kid, like because he's like,
Yeah.
it's story time.
There's still some childlike wonder left.
Yeah, so
Which
it's
is nice.
it was very nice to see him like sit down, like, okay, tell me the story. It's like it was a fun story.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I think part of it too has to do with the fact that he probably wouldn't have been as excited if it wasn't
Yeah.
like the story of his wife's name.
Yeah.
But that was like, it's kind of like a way for him to connect with his wife,
Mhm.
who he doesn't know where she is, and to feel like he's hearing about her. I think even though she's not there.
And I think it was a little bit of the kind of dynamic between the two characters as well.
Yeah.
Like he was kind of almost, I don't want to say almost slightly like a father figure to him, because
Yeah.
he was kind of teaching him things. He took him under his
Yeah,
wing.
it really, mentor relationship. He's
So
giving
he
him
was kind of
lessons.
like this, like it wasn't like
Yeah.
that set in stone or anything, but it was kind of like that for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the last of the major actors in this would be Leonardo, who plays this really like sleazy but like pretentiously classy for Southern slave owner
Yeah.
who's in the Mandingo. This is the Mandingo fighting, which historically wasn't a real thing. That'd be like taking your tractors and just ramming them into each other.
Yeah.
Like from an economic standpoint.
But like that perspective of they're chattel, then I can do with them what I like. That is
That attitude is
that's 100% true to fact that I'll sell you, I will make you create more slaves. You have to breed with this particular person so that I can take your children and make them into my slaves. I can sell you, I can beat you, I can breed you, I can kill you, I can do whatever I want because you are chattel, you are not human.
Yeah, it was, even though Mandingo wasn't, it seems like it wasn't a real thing. Like they wouldn't do that for economic reasons.
Yeah.
The whole idea of the Mandingo fighting, I think in this movie was, like you were saying, like the control, but also just to show the savagery. It's like an analogy for the savagery.
Mhm.
And
even though visual shorthand.
even though they weren't like maybe fighting each other to the death, I believe that they were just trying to show like this stuff could have happened. Like there was a lot of dehumanization and savagery going on with people back in those days.
Yeah, and this
Other
is
people.
And when they first meet Miss Your Candy, is that's one of the other themes you see is like the theme of how beer plays into people's relationships. Because when Schultz is first explaining what he does and who he is, he's getting Django a beer, and he's acting as a bartender basically, and says, I'm gonna pour you a beer, and it's like two people having a drink after a long trip.
Oh yeah.
And Mr. Candy, after his slave wins a fight and beats someone's head in with a hammer,
He sends him.
he gives him a beer, but that's more as in, here's your reward for murdering somebody.
Oh yeah, it was in a bottle, and he didn't prepare it for him.
He didn't prepare it, just popped it off, have somebody else do it. But also, it's more like it's just another way of like, here's your reward for like being a slave, as opposed to, hey, let's have a drink together.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, it's true. It's kind of like this the separation. Yeah, there's a lot you can look into that, but yeah, that's pretty. They did that for a reason, to try to show like the separations. Like, it's like you're my property and I'm using you, and like you're my star, so I'm treating you. This is me treating you well, versus like two people having a beer together. It's like, hey, we went on this trip, and I'm gonna make like a beer for you.
Yeah,
and then we're gonna drink it together.
I'm gonna propose a deal to you.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that is kind of interesting too about how they look at a little bit of the interplay between the white culture and the black slave culture at the time. Is Django tells Schultz that a black slaver is lower than the black house servant. And that's not from the perspective of the white people, because if you are a slaver, a black slaver, the white people will think that you have status. They'll give you status. They will treat you better.
Mm-hmm.
But you see it with the black folk, the slaves, who look at Django when he's playing this role. He's a traitor. He has betrayed the other slaves. He is disgusting. And then we end up meeting Samuel Jackson's character, and he is the head house servant.
And he's the actual traitor in this scenario, like to his people.
Right. So Django's role, if it would have been, real as the slaver, would have been even lower in the perspective of the rest of the slaves than Samuel L. Jackson's. Because Samuel L. Jackson, there's so much freaking psychology that's been studied about this. When you give someone power over other like folk, they can become cruel, especially when you're looking at like from the slavery perspective. They take on, it's almost like a Stockholm syndrome in a way, and they take on kind of the same mentality and the same savagery as their white masters, and they will treat other black slaves even more poorly sometimes than the white masters might, because they're maintaining their status because they are safe, and
they will defend the system in which they're in.
Yes,
and which Samuel L. Jackson's character does. He puts on this act of weakness, that surprised me the first time I saw it, when like he's finally about to die, and he just like drops the cane, stands up straight, and starts talking regular, and like he's not like putting on a whole act, like laughing at Mr. Candy's jokes way too much.
And you can see when he goes to the back, when they're all like, I guess they're all cooking and stuff. Like he has a different persona. When he's talking to everyone else than when he's like in front of the white people.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. And they've done like major psychology studies about all of this, and you can sort of like replicate that kind of paradigm in real time in a variety of different ways. Was it the Stanford prison experiment is kind of sort of, similar, where you give someone power, they abuse it. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of sort of what you would have seen from like a house slave, someone who in the white folks' perspective has more status, has more respect than the other slaves. But the other slaves look at this person as just the worst, lowest scum. And so the slavers would have been even worse than that, because they are the ones that are like actively
selling their people into bondage.
Yeah. So it's just it's it's kind of interesting to see how they showed that.
Yeah.
And I think that that's actually a really important bit of conversation that the film had about that psychology.
Okay.
Yeah, like,
and
the movie. I mean, I'm not the one who's, can say this, but Quentin Tarantino did a very good job of making this film like almost a historical. It is a historical piece, right?
Yeah.
But also
period
analogous.
piece.
Yeah, analogous to like modern society as well. And it's funny that someone like Tarantino would be able to kind of like figure out all this shit and like touch on it and everything. Touch on like,
I guarantee he had help.
yeah, it was like, it wasn't entirely a white perspective. You can tell that there was like some black
Well, yeah,
perspective stuff going on.
Quentin
here.
Tarantino, he probably supplied the spaghetti western portion.
Yeah.
He made a like you said, like when the movie started, like this looks like an Italian crew probably
Yeah.
filmed parts of this.
Great cinematography, by
Oh
the
yeah,
way.
phenomenal. Like they found like some of the best parts of the American West.
But
and
yeah,
South.
it does feel like analogous to, today. And these movies they're always like going to talk about today. They're not just pure historical pieces.
Yeah.
They're always going to talk about like black
You
and
kinda
white
have to.
culture. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I can't go too deep into it, but it looks like there's just a lot of stuff. Cause I have my ideas of what they're being analogous to today's society, but I'm just not going to go there because I'm not sure what they're saying. But I have ideas like involving like professional sports and police and stuff. So I'm not going to, but it does seem like.
I think the best filmmakers find a way to make their stories connect with what is currently happening in society, whether it's a positive or a negative take on what's happening. If you can tie in what your story is telling to what's happening around people at the time that you are telling the story, then it definitely makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I think that wraps us up for today.
Yeah.
Because you have a fancy dinner.
We're going to where are we?
You said you're going to the Olive Garden, right? No,
The Olive Garden.
Yeah, you're going to the Olive. Listen, when you're there,
No. Oh yeah.
when you're there, your
fine.
family. Obviously, you're gonna go there.
No, we're gonna go get crunk.
Oh yeah, you're going to some brewery. So that being said, we're gonna keep secret what our next movie is because we don't know if we can actually find it. God damn it! So maybe
You already freaking.
It will be a
it will be okay. It'll be a Quentin Tarantino.
Tarantino
yeah.
film.
It will be.
How many weeks are in this month?
I think it's a solid 4.
I thought it was more than that. I think
I
there's.
said a solid 4.
Let's.
So maybe so it might be a week 5.
Okay, it's 4. There's 4 weekends.
4 weeks.
in
So
the
yeah.
month.
So look, where are we at? There we go. Oh, speaking of Quentin Tarantino stuff, this is like something he put in one of his movies. This
Probably.
outro sting.
It is inspired by the sounds of a Tarantino film,
Yes. So that being said, I'm Spike.
I'm Samantha.
and I'm Victor.
Damn it! I was this close.
And thanks for listening to the Transmit Podcast. We'll see
We'll
you
catch
next
you next time.
Motherfucker.